What's up? What it do? Time for another episode of the Intellectual Stew and a little thought therapy with yours truly, James Kirkland, aka the Mind Massager. I wanted to talk with you today a little bit about environment. We're all products, true enough, of our environment. I tell people all the time that we are the effects of what we've been exposed to and what we've embraced. It's hard to become the effect of anything that you've not been exposed to. And it's even harder to become the effect of something that you've been exposed to, but you chose not to embrace. We can live in a home. We can learn directly or indirectly. We can assess those lessons and hopefully apply those lessons to our lives. That's the environment that we live in. And the teaching that we experience equates to the exposure that we receive. That's why when parents, good parents, they try their best to expose their children to a bunch of different things with the effort or with the hope that they choose the right thing. But when there's limited exposure, then there are limited opportunities, which thus can sometimes present limited effects, unless one masters what he or she learns. But unfortunately, what I've come to discover is that we can expose our children to whatever we want to expose them to, but the moment their environment changes, then the potential for their effects also change. Now, that change can be good. I mean, it's good when a child can be exposed to the right thing. My son went off to college, joined the fraternity, picked up trades, met friends, did his own thing. You know, he went the direction his environment led him to. That's a good thing. And even after college, he's applied a lot of those principles. Sometimes I marvel at the discipline that he has in contrast to the discipline that I had growing up, or the discipline that I have right now. But we are the effects of what we've been exposed to and what we've embraced. I had a good conversation with a friend of mine on this morning, and I was troubled. I was troubled at some responses that I saw on Facebook. I know Facebook isn't real life, but it is to an extent because you got real people. But I was kind of taken aback at some of the comments that I was receiving. And the comments, I'm cool with comments, but I like comments to have context. And if there's no context, then I don't understand, because then that creates confusion. And I'm not one, if you know me, I'm not one that likes to deal with confusion. I want there to be clarity in everything that I try to commit myself to doing. So I try my best to make sure that there's clarity. And when we do something different, something that's contrary, by my estimation, that's confusion. So all I wanted was context. I just wanted an answer. You know, I wasn't trying to. I didn't even share my opinion. So I saw one of my friends, a mutual friend on there, and I was looking at their responses, and I was like, wow. But the exposure that they came up in, they saw a mother and a father, and they saw their father loving their mother, and then to have such a view that's diametrically opposed to what they had been exposed to was amazing to me. And so I had to have a conversation, and he told me, he said, people have a choice. Even when you expose them and you place them in the proper environment, and they've had this consistent teaching for so long, they don't necessarily have to adhere to that teaching. He said they can choose to do something totally different, and I had to think about that. I really did. I had to think about that because it kind of threw me off a little bit. So it kind of threw me off a little bit. It really did. I mean, but then I had to think about that. We could train up a child in the way that he should go and trust that when he's old, that he won't depart from it now. But there's a lot of life to live between being a child and being old. You got an adolescence, teenage years, adult years, and then we get old. And trust that when we get old, that we won't depart. We'll remember. And so many things now at almost 50. Almost 50, man. I'm coming up on the 50-year mark. That's a milestone. And when I look back over my life, and I look at some of the things that I was taught, there were things that I accepted. But then there were things that I also rejected. The same thing these children are doing. They have the opportunity to choose, but I try my best now that I'm older and I'm able to, because when 40 things start to slow down, so 50 is really starting to slow down. So now I'm able to see some of the mistakes I made. And recognizing those mistakes, what it's teaching me how to do is to really, 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 really look at that man in the mirror. And in looking at the man in the mirror, I've learned to really do a proper assessment. I think so many times when we look in the mirror, we're looking to enhance. We're looking to cover up flaws. We're looking to try to be something that we're not. That we want to be, should I say. So we cover up all those flaws. And for years, I was one that didn't have to look in the mirror. Although I wore a tie, I could drive down the street, steer the steering wheel of the car with my knees, and tie my tie. I could brush my teeth while walking through the house, looking in the closet to decide what I was going to wear. I could take my rag and get all the matter out of my eyes. I didn't have to necessarily look in the mirror. So for years, I didn't look in the mirror. But one day when my life changed, when I was in this desolate, dark place of being alone, and I was forced to look in the mirror, right? And when I looked in the mirror and did a proper assessment of the mirror, what I did was I realized that there were some things that other folks saw about me that I didn't even see. And they were telling me, and because even though they were telling me, I didn't necessarily believe it. But when I was able to look in the mirror myself, I'll be honest, there were some things that I really saw that I didn't like. And that's my challenge to you, if it's anyone listening. Look in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, be honest with yourself. Do a proper assessment of the mirror, of the person that's looking back in the mirror. And you got to ask yourself, when I operate, do I operate from a platform of pain? Have I allowed the negative things in my environment to affect me so much that I've become the effects of it because I've been exposed to it? And if so, then sometimes I have to be quiet on certain issues until I've had a chance to heal. Because I heard one person say that when you're hurting and you operate from a platform of hurt, sometimes you bleed on people that have done nothing to you, because you sound angry, you sound cantankerous, you sound upset, and everything, and you mask it behind jokes, but there's pain behind those jokes. But you want healing? Let me help you. In order to get the help you need, take an honest assessment of that man or woman in the mirror. And when you take that honest assessment, I promise you, it will start you on the process of getting to this place that I call better. I'm on the path to better, and I want you to join me. Do me a favor. Remember this. The world is changing. You've been on about therapy with yours truly, James Kirkland, a.k.a. the Mind Massager. But remember this. The world is changing. My question for you is, why do you remain the same? Be encouraged.